Would you believe it? A bite. A bite. It was a bite. Certainly got a bit of weight here, just like the first one. We'll take a look at the camera in a second, guys. There we go, hooks out. And there we go. Little baby ray. Well, good day. It is another glorious sunny day down Brighton. I'm fishing on the marina today, and the target species are most predominantly plaice. I have heard a few sole have come out, but it's a very bright sunny day, so conditions are not ideal for them. But you never know, we might be able to winkle one out. There's still a few reports of odd bream coming out, so I'll probably be chucking out a bream rig during my session as well to give that a try. It's now 12 o'clock. The arm shuts at 6 p.m, so I'll probably fish till about 5:30, seeing how it goes. And shortly we'll take a look at the rigs and the bait choices for the day. So that's the plan. Let's see if we can make it happen. Woohoo, we're fishing! So I've got my second rod set up and ready to go. I've already chucked the first one out. My standard gear for the marina, Zenon C6 low diameter rod, Shimano Ultegra 14,000 reel, loaded with 0.37 Blaze green mainline and a Zenon tapered leader. And I have my standard sole rig on the end of this one. Now I've got a 6-ounce grip because the tide runs through here. If I was fishing down the beach, I'd be probably using a plain lead. And it's a 3-hook flapper, and it's got 8-inch snoods and size 6 saltwater super match. Each one's loaded with a really small bit of lug there. That's about 1.5 inch piece of worm, and that's good to go. So I'm going to get that chucked out. I'm not going to stick it too far, maybe 40 yards out, to see if I can pick a sole up there, and we'll have a look at the rest of the rigs and the bait soon. So time to have a look at the bait for today that I've got in my call bag. We have mussels in their shells. That's 20 frozen lug, but they're from my mate who's coming down later. 20 frozen lug for me, and I've got about another 10 that I've already started over there. A chunk of squid that's been out the freezer a few times, so probably past its best. And I have 4 peeler crabs, all being kept nice and cool with an ice pack. So I'll just get this lot stuck back in the bag. Don't want to let it get too warm in the sun. I'll get that stuck back in the shade. I'll zip that up in a moment. And I also have some slightly past their best, still alive, rag that I picked up from the tackle box this morning. So there we go, a few little wriggly worms to try as well to mix it up a bit. So we'll see how that gets on, and we'll see which baits pick up the fish today as we carry on through the session. So let's take a look at another rig choice I have today. This is a 2-hook clip down rig, 6-ounce grip lead at the bottom with an imp, 2-foot snoods, and in the middle of the rig body there we've got a cascade swivel between 2 beads held in place with rig gum stops, so I can adjust it when I'm fishing if I want to. Size 6 saltwater super match there. I've loaded that with a little bit of frozen lug, and the usual bait stop in place because this is a clip down rig. Top snood is also 2 feet. Same hook, size 6 saltwater super match, bait stop, and of course at the top of the rig there, to give a bit of tension, we've got the SR2 spring, well half a spring I use, held in place with the beads and the rig gum stops. So if a spider crab comes and snips off one of my hooks, you know, one of those pests that we have around at the moment, then I can move my snoods and the rig's still good to use, and I've only lost hopefully a few inches line, or I can put a new snood on if I need to and make sure that I can adjust everything so it all clips up nicely still. So that's rig choice number 2. Well, I'm just reeling in my first chuck. There's a bit of weight on the end, but there's also a bit of may rot on the line. But I'm hopeful this might be a fish. It actually does feel like it's pulling back. I don't think it's just the tide. Yeah, there's definitely a fish on here. Definitely a fish. So let's see what we've got. Hopefully it's a nice chunky plaice, because it feels like it's got a bit of weight to it, this one, and it's staying deep. What have we got? It's a flatty. Let's haul him up the side. There we go, we're off to a start. Bait's gone on the bottom hook as well. That's a nice plaice, that one. Lovely start. There we go. So we get this guy unhooked and give him a measure. That's exactly what I wanted. That was on frozen lug, and this is my third rig. My third rig to go through. This is a loop rig with 16-inch snoods on this one. Anyway, let's get this guy unhooked. We'll give him a measure. So here we have our plaice, still on the hook at the moment. And that's coming in just shy of 34 centimetres there. So very pleased with that for the first chuck. Hopefully there's going to be some more of these around today. My last session down here I fished 8 hours and only had 3. Oh, let's get those forceps in. Grab a hold of the snood. Turn that hook. Let's get the bait out of the way so I can get a better grip. Pop that hook back. And there we go. Good to go. Now what I'm going to do is take some of that bait out of my cool bag and take this one back home because it's a lovely plump plaice and I'm hopeful of getting some more today. But there we have him. Well, after scoping that plaice out, it's time to take a look and see if we've got anything on the sole rig. This one was chucked in closer. So this is my 3-hook flapper with 8-inch snoods loaded with little bits of lug. Again, it feels like there's a bit of weight on there, but I can see some may rot on the line. Not horrendous amounts though. Enough to be globby and horrible, but not horrendous. Have we got a fish? Yes, we do. I thought we did because it was staying deep. Let's take a look at this one. It doesn't look quite as big as the first, but 2 casts, 2 fish. Oh look, and I've got some mackerel feathers as well. That'd be why it was heavy. Look at that, caught on the grip lead. Oh, free weight for me. And there we have, what fish do we have here? A little dab. So there we go, a second species. Off to a good start. So this dab was beautifully lip hooked. So he's going to go back well. Let's set him free. Off he goes, straight to the bottom. There we go, 2 chucks, 2 fish. So let's take a look at my 4th rig choice for today. So we've already seen the 2-hook clip down, the loop rig, the 3-hook flapper. This is also a 3-hook flapper, but this is a really light rig. I decided after not getting any touches on my bream rig, I needed to up my game a little bit. This is the same style of rig, 3-hook flapper. Each snood is 2 feet long with size 6 saltwater super matches. You see I've loaded that there just with a tiny little bit of squid. Middle snood, tiny bit of squid with a couple of pop-ups. And the top snood I've actually loaded with some rag. Let's take a look at those. And that's also got 2 pop-ups. So there we go, there's the rag. So it's a 2 up, 1 down rig. But what I've done differently is the entire rig is made with 0.35 fluorocarbon from Tronics Pro. Now that includes the rig body, so I'm definitely not going to be power casting this at all. I've got a 5 ounce weight on there and 18-pound line from a rig body. So it's going to be gently flicked out and hopefully this fluorocarbon will make it a bit more stealthy. I've got little tiny black beads and rig gum stops. I've even gone down on my swivel size. That there, the swivels on my rig body, they're all size 14 swivels to keep them really small. And even the swivel at the top of my rig is only a size 6, whereas normally I'd use a size 1. And we're going to get this chucked out to see if we can tempt something up slightly higher up in the water than a flatfish from the bottom. So let's get this one out. So I've got to be really gentle with this cast. Let me draw my line out. Because obviously, like I say, I've only got an 18-pound rig body. So no power in this at all. It's just going to be a very gentle flick. And that sent that about 25 yards out. So we'll see what happens. So we've already had 2 fish on lug, but I wanted to try out some of these mussels that I brought with me as well. And one of the great things about these scissors is they have a shell crusher on. So I used to struggle getting mussels out of the shell, but these are great. Oops, throw the mussel away, why don't I? So the shell crusher's in this part of the scissors. So we're just going to put the mussel in the shell crusher and give it a couple of little squeezes along the shell. There we go, and you can see that's broken the shell up there. And now I can just pick these broken bits off. Obviously they can be sharp, so I need to be careful I don't cut my finger. But it makes it much easier to get the mussel out of the shell. So I'll pick those bits of shell off on one side, and then I can just get my thumb, run that down the shell on the other side, and out pops the mussel, and then that goes in my little bait box there. So I've got a few more mussels to do this with. There we go. I'm going to do 3 of these, and then we're going to stick them on the hook. There we go. Oh, last little bit of shell to pick off. That's 2. And a 3rd one here. Get that shell broken. Peel it off. And there we go. Now I've got 3 mussels good to go. And this is where my little baiting tool comes in handy. Got this little 3-prong tool from Tronix Pro. And I'm going to get these 3 mussels. They're still a little bit frozen, but that's absolutely fine. And we slide them onto the prongs. 2 of them are pointed. One's got a little hole for the hook. So you can see that looks like a nice amount of bait there, those 3 mussels. Find my bait elastic, which I seem to have put down somewhere. There's the bait elastic. Find the end. Now we're going to whip these on to the prongs. Get it nice and neat looking. Oh, it's dripping on me, I don't want it to drip too much on my trousers. There we go, on the prongs. Now we get the hook. This is going on my bottom hook of my loop rig. And I'll find the 3rd prong's got the hole in. Just pull the bait down a bit so I can see what I'm doing. There we go. Pop the hook in the hole. And then we get more bait elastic. Give these a really good whip on because they're just going to be whipped onto the line with the elastic. That's all that's going to be holding them in place here. So get that on nice and securely. There we go. And then we simply slide the tool up, spin the hook round to make sure it's proud. And there we go. Mussel baits, good to chuck out. Right, give my hands a clean. That was slimy and horrible. So, 2 chucks, 2 fish, 2 species. That's obviously the day of 2s. Let's hope it doesn't stay like that. Anyway, it's absolutely glorious down here. I'm very happy with how things have started off, and I'm going to keep fishing hard to try and put some more fish on camera as the day goes on. We've still got 5 hours till the arm shuts, so anything can happen. So my line has gone a little bit slack. That can be a sign that a fish has moved the lead a little bit, even though it is a 6-ounce grip on it. So let's see if we've got anything. That's certainly got a bit of weight here, just like the first one. I'm going with there's something on here, because that's got a lovely bend in the tip. Yeah, there's definitely fish on here. I'm going with more than one, or a much better one. I'd have a much better one over 2 small ones. Yeah, that's definitely heavy. I've been joined now by my friend Matthew, hello, who's come down. What have we got on here? It's staying very deep, so I can't see what's on the end. Hopefully it's not spider crab. No, it's a fish, I think. What have we got? Is it a ray? It is. Yeah, and a flatty. Thornback and a flatty. I might have to get a handballing this up the side if that's all right. If I just walk back a little bit. You got that?
Oh, it's not bad ray either.
Yeah, it's all right, isn't it? That had a bit of weight to it. We'll take a look at the camera in a second, guys. I think Matthew arrived just in time, didn't he? Not a monster, but I'm not saying no to that. There we go.
A couple of pound.
Yeah, about the size of the ones the guys fishing near me the other day had out.
Foul hooked him.
Oh, crikey. Don't say that. Still counts in my book.
You landed it, Jen.
I did, yeah.
That's what it's all about.
It must have been interested in my bait. All right, let's take a look at this. There we go. Be careful of these spikes. Where? Right. I'll just go grab my rag and I'll be back. This is me with my delicate office hands. There we go, hooks out. And there we go. Little baby ray. And the plaice was tiny. We'll get that one chucked back. So there we go, guys. That's not bad, is it? 3 casts, 4 fish now. Well, we've got a bite on the right hand rod. This has got my plaice rig on it. Let's just keep watching it for a bit, let that bite develop. As we know with plaice, they take a little while to get that bait down. So I'm just going to leave that for a few minutes. Take a note of the time now. 1:38. I'll give it a couple of minutes. Then we'll take a look, reel it in. So I've left that bite for a bit. I haven't seen it again actually, so maybe it's sitting there or maybe it's swum off. Let's take a look. That doesn't feel particularly heavy, this one, but then I am comparing it to a ray and a plaice double shot. I'm not sure which side of the line. My lines are quite close together. I'm just trying to work out which side I am. I think I'm this side. It's staying a little bit deep though, so there might be another flatty on here. If there is, it's going to be a small one. Yep, we got another one. Another flatty, another plaice by the look of it. There we go. Not quite as small as I thought, but not as big as the first one we had. So there we go. Actually, that was on my 3-hook flapper, not the plaice rig. So there we go. That was the rig I chucked out in the off chance of a sole on this bright sunny day. But there we go. Another plaice. So there we go. Coming in at 28 centimetres. Not quite as big as the one I had on the first cast, but a sizable fish. I'm still going to get this one chucked back. Well, it's all gone a little bit quiet. It's 3 o'clock now. Haven't seen any fish caught along the arm for a while, but I've decided it's time to reel in, check the baits on this one and see how we're getting on. There's definitely a little bit of may rot on the line again. It doesn't feel like any fish, but we'll see if we've got any bait left. On my other rod that's out there, I've got my sort of bream summer species rig, and it's only about 20 yards out. No sign of any action on that one. Oh, well, the bait's gone on my top hook. Something's definitely had a munch on the middle, and the bottom one untouched. There we go, look, something's had a bite out of that worm. Top one, stripped clean. That might have been a bit of crab action. Anyway, let's get this rig unhooked, clip on my baited up rig, and get some baits chucked back out. Even though it's gone a bit quiet, I'm still putting in all the effort. Try and keep baits in the water as long as possible. So we'll just get this one clipped up, ready to send out. There we go. Frozen lug, ready to go. So let's get these baits whacked out. Oh, I've got a bit of tangle around the top eye. There we go, clear now. Get the drag tightened and we're good to go. Back fishing, back in the water. Well, what can I say? It's gone very quiet, but the conditions have changed. We've now got the wind swung around much more to the east, It's chopped up the sea a little bit. So maybe with that change of conditions, you never know, it might affect something. Maybe it'll affect whether the fish are going to start feeding. I'm going to reel in one now, and then I'm going to get my little scratching summer rig chucked out to give that another try. And I've loaded all the hooks on that with about 4 or 5 rag on each hook. So once I've got this reeled in, we'll take a look at how I've baited that up. Well, those baits are absolutely untouched. Take a look at this one. Look at that, nothing whatsoever has had its mouth on that. Top hook is exactly the same. Anyway, let's get the rigs changed over and get the summer species rig chucked out instead. So here we go, I've got the summer rig ready to go, and all my hooks are baited up with a bunch of rag, just like that. So let's get this chucked out. I'm going to go for about 10 feet out this time, almost straight down the side of the wall, see if we can pick anything up there. So let's get this out in the water. Really, really gentle little flick, as gentle as I can do. There we are. I think that went slightly further than 10 feet. I did my best. Anyway, that's 3 rag baits out, almost straight down the side, to see if we can pick up a bonus fish down there. So let's give this other one a check. Now I've cast out the summer species rig close in. Given that the baits were absolutely untouched, not even any evidence of crab activity, I'm not expecting much on this one, but we have got a nice bit of chop on the water now, which really could just change things, because we haven't caught anything, no, me or Matthew haven't caught anything for a little while. I'm still very pleased to have that little ray earlier. Nice bit of change. Nice change. See something a bit different? Right, there's nothing on this. So I'll get this one wound in, and I've got my 3-hook flapper baited up, ready to go back out. Loaded with lug. Yeah, again, absolutely nothing has touched that bait. So there's not much sign of life out there at the minute, but we've got another couple of hours until the arm shuts, and things could always change up again. Cool, so I've got the 3-hook flapper ready to go, and in order to mix things up a little bit, because we've got to try something different if what we're doing is not working, I'm going to put this one out about half the distance I have been casting to see if we can pick something up there. I'm not too worried about getting my drop length right. We're just going to go for a gentle flick. There we go. Baits are out. Someone's rubbish blowing along the wall. Let's get that picked up before I reel in. I'm going to reel in my 3-hook flapper. See if we've got anything on here. It's pretty much bang on low tide now. So when the tide turns, it might wake the fish up, just like this chop on the water might have done something, but it doesn't seem to have done. But still, a little bit of time to go, and we're going to keep trying. I can see my baits coming through the water now. It doesn't look like anything's had a touch on it again. So quite different from this morning's conditions, when it was fishing quite well for the first few hours. But yeah, nothing has touched that rig. All my baits, crab at the bottom untouched, 2 lug on the top 2 hooks untouched. But as we all know, things have got to change, and they will change at some point. So we're ready to get some more baits chucked out. On the bottom hook there, I've got lug with mussel, and the top hook, I've got lug with a nice big chunky bit of squid there, ready to go. So just adding a little bit of variety in to see if that can pick up the fish. Let's get these baits out. Cool, that easterly wind we've got coming through now really has taken a bit of line off the spool on the cast. So I'll get that wound back in, connect with the lead, get it all tightened up, and keep watching for those bites. Well, would you believe it? A bite, a bite. Matthew's had a bite. We've been sitting here for hours without bites, and all of a sudden, the rod's just gone off. Was this the one you put the big bait on?
No.
Little bait, so there's plaice rig.
Big bait's got the drags there.
Yeah. Plaice rig. Let's keep an eye, see if there's a fish. Oh,
Might just be dug in as well.
yeah, dug in, could be.
Yeah, it's dug in.
We don't want dug in with a fish on the end. Oh, it's coming.
Make sure there's anything on it.
That's the most excitement we've had for 2 hours.
Literally. Since our rowing.
You see, I said when the tide turned we might have got a fish. The tide turned half an hour ago. It does look like it's staying deep.
Yeah.
Oh, nothing. But it was a bite. Well, with a bite spurring me into action, not my bite. Not my bite. I thought I'd best check my baits. They've been out there a little while. But if the fish have come back on the feed, I know one bite isn't much evidence to go by. But if they have come back on the feed, it's time to get some fresh baits chucked out. My rod on the left there is still fishing for summer species really close in next to the wall. And that can quite happily stay there for a bit. Well, nothing on this one. Let's take a look at the baits when we get it up the wall. Oh, we've got some tangle going on, that's not good. Well, well, well. Good job I did reel that in, look at that. A right messed up rig. Anyway, I've got my 2 clip down ready to go, so I'm going to get that chucked out. Well, we've reached the end of the session and it started off really well, but it's been very quiet all afternoon. Well, we've really been in a lot of the ebb of the tide. 5 fish. We've had those 3 plaice, the dab and that lovely little thorny, which was great to see come up the side of the wall. And that's it for today. But if you've liked the video, please consider clicking the like button. And I'd love it if you could subscribe. And thanks to everyone who's subscribed already. That's it for today. I'll see you next time.